Welcome to Advanced Patient Care, the exclusive podcast series by Vance Thompson Vision. Our purpose is to keep you at the forefront of the optometry field through dynamic insights, practical clinical tips, and engaging expert discussions. Join us on a journey of continuous learning and professional growth as we delve into the latest advancements in eye care. Our mission is clear: empower eye care providers with the knowledge and tools needed to provide exceptional patient care. At Advanced Patient Care, we are dedicated to elevating eye care one episode at a time. And welcome to this episode. I'm pumped to be here. I'll introduce our panelists. Kelly, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
I'm Kelly Seeps. I'm an optometrist at Vance Thompson Vision in South Sioux City, Nebraska. I've been here for a little over 2 years now, so I'm excited to be here too.
Cool. Brandon?
Hey, everybody. My name is Brandon Bartman. I'm an ophthalmologist with Vance Thompson Vision, and I have been practicing at Vance Thompson Vision Omaha site for 6 years, I think is the right. Sometimes I think it's 7. Sometimes I think it's shorter than that, but I think 6 is where I've rounded to recently, and I love it, and it's great, and I'm excited to be here.
That's perfect. And I think it is 6 because I'm at 8. And I'm
okay. Yeah, it's whatever Mike is, but -2.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
And I'm at Vance Thompson Vision up in Fargo, and we're just over 8 years here. So this episode is maybe a little bit unique and different. It's got a strong personal tie to Brandon and myself, and we'll get into that a little bit. But and we got a visitor, Teddy. What's up, Teddy? This episode has a personal touch to Brandon and I, like I said, and we're going to talk about something that we talk to patients about multiple times a day. And you guys listening talk to patients and see patients multiple times a day. But we're going to talk about cataract surgery, but more on the education side of things. And so, Brandon, I guess I'll ask you, what's the biggest problem when it comes to talking to patients about cataract surgery?
Yeah, well, that's a very leading question, Mike, and I'm glad that you asked. Thumbs up to that. I honestly, if everybody, I'm going to phrase it this way: if everybody could just understand things the way that we, as doctors, understand how lenses work and what we can expect for them, how we can expect them to work in a given patient's eyes, they would make better educated decisions. And so trying to not convince, but properly explain to a -2 myope how cataract surgery with a monofocal lens targeted at plano will change their uncorrected view of the world is really difficult. Because the most common thing we hear is, well, I do fine reading, I just want better distance vision. And it's hard to fully explain what a monofocal lens is and the focal length and what that does for their vision. And so, I think one of the things that hopefully we'll get into a little bit here is how I really believe that patient education in cataract surgery is the differentiator between good and really great cataract surgery practices. I think we all have access to wonderful advanced technology. Safety and results are hygiene in the sense that it's only really noticeable from a patient when it's absent because it's just expected. But it's really patient education that will set practice apart. And that's why we spend so much time and energy on patient education for cataract surgery.
Yeah. And Kelly, I'm going to phrase it to you a little different way, but who are some of your happiest patients?
I think the patients where we nail the outcome, where we've met their expectations and they come back and they're like, man, I didn't realize how bad my vision really was. And, I think it ranges. Patients can be super happy with a monofocal lens, and they can also be really happy with a multifocal lens. It's all about, just like Brandon said, setting expectations to make sure that we reach patients' visual goals and needs. And yeah, it's all about education and setting that up for patients.
So your happiest patients are the ones who you set the expectations properly and that's where they landed. Your unhappiest patients are those that are surprised or have.
Yeah, I think unhappy patients are just ones that, maybe didn't fully, well, those -2 myopes who don't realize that those might be some of the unhappiest patients, who maybe don't fully understand what we mean by when we say, you're going to lose your near vision. There's probably something in the back of their head that's like, hey, you're going to be able to read some things, but no, it's, you're going to lose all of that near vision. And so I think the unhappiest patients are just ones that don't fully grasp the conversation. And part of that may just come from, coming to this hours long exam, meeting a bunch of different people. They're nervous to begin with, and then we go into this long conversation. And so some patients I plan to have multiple conversations with them leading up to surgery, just to make sure that they have a good understanding of what to expect.
So you're telling me, but you told the patient, so like you told the patient like, hey, you're going to lose this, but then they come back unhappy. So are you saying your patient wasn't listening?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
So I think what the problem is we're saying a lot of stuff and patients are listening, but they've been in our office for an hour or two, like you said, they're dilated, a lot of information in. We think they're understanding it. For us, we can say this, 100 times a day, and it's old hat for us, but for them it's new, and so it's a little confusing. And if you guys don't understand or believe, do a little exercise with me here. I'll just have everybody who, if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're not driving, close your eyes and just think of the color green. And then open your eyes. And was the color green you were thinking the same color as this green around my speaker box, with the same green as Brandon's logo on his hat? Was it the green in the flowers in Kelly's picture? Was it the 3-4 different shades over my shoulder of green? So, I was thinking of the green on Brandon's hat, but you guys probably experienced something different. And so even though I'm telling you to like think of this color green, we're picking out different color greens. So when we say it's going to be blurry up close or blurry in the distance, that's when patients are bummed and they're like, you told me it was going to be blurry, but you didn't tell me it was going to be blurry. And you're like, well, I did, and so that's where the expectations and reality don't match, like you said, Kelly. So words are hard to understand. Pictures are better. Brandon, what's the solution?
The solution really, in a perfect world, would be able to get patients to be able to be immersed in an environment that simulates their expected visual outcome. In reality, it would be great to try it before you buy it. Realistic, even if they're not paying anything extra for it, people want to be educated about their decisions, and the best education is as close as we can possibly simulate it to a post-operative result. And so if there was a way to do that, I think it would be amazing.
Yeah. And so that's what we did with GreenMan. And so a few years ago, Brandon and I were out on a hunt together, and it was probably our one and only hunt of the year that each one of us does. Maybe you go hunting more than I do, but we were sitting there talking, and I said, hey, I got this idea. I got a VR headset. It's really cool. And I think we can use it to, do something more, maybe educate patients on cataract surgery. And Brandon goes, I've been thinking the same thing. And we kind of looked at each other in awe, and we're like, and I said, I don't know what to do. It sounds like it's a lot of work. And you're like, no, we can do it. Let's make it happen. And so that's about 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And so we decided, we got some time on our hands between clinic and family and surgery and all the other stuff. Let's get this going. And so Brandon dove in and got going on the software and found some people to help us build it. And we've been tinkering with it ever since. And now we're getting ready to bring it to the masses. And so we've been using it a little bit in our clinic and in other clinics, and we'll kind of share experience here in a different segment of this episode. But anything more on the origins of GreenMan that I glossed over that you want to add, Brandon?
Oh, that's right. We were probably on version, I believe, 5.99 right now. I don't know why we're not quite calling it 6, but there have been multiple iterations, and I actually can't wait to kind of think through out loud of all the advancements we've made, and I'm happy to do it now, or if you want to do it in the future, in just a minute here, we can do that too. But you know, it's been a journey where we first wanted to almost prove like a null hypothesis. We wanted to say it's not possible, right? Let's prove to ourselves it's not possible before we forget about this. And so we dove really hard into the first version of the software, and it was a heavy lift, and it was lots of, you know, back and forth with our software engineers and the development team. And they put something out, and it was like, guys, I think we did it, right? I think we can do this. So we were able to add these effects in a virtual environment that allowed us to change focal points and superimpose different visual profiles from dysphotopsia and halos and glare. It was incredible, and it was a pretty simple first swing at that, and it has grown into the ability to treat each eye independently, to fine tune the focal points for each eye independently, to provide the appropriate amount of cylinder to the 10th decimal to each eye independently. And we've got a few different environments now that we'll talk a little bit about, but it is light years ahead of where it was, and it's probably light years behind of where it can go.
So we'll wrap up this segment on that note. So what we believe the problem was is an education problem, where we were saying one thing, patients were maybe not on the same playing field or understanding it the same. And we're like, man, if you could just experience it or try it before you buy it or test drive a car so everybody knew what we were talking about, that would make life so much easier for us, explaining things so much better for the staff, showing patients these things, and ultimately the best experience for patients, because now they know what they're getting themselves into before they spend all this time, effort, energy, money into cataract surgery. And so they know what it's going to be like on the other side. And so that's where GreenMan came from.